I'm Troy Kirby with My Edmonds News, with a quick look at the 2021 Washington State Legislative Session. Senate lawmakers debated Engrossed Substitute House Bill 1236. The legislation protects residential tenants from the beginning of their tenancies by penalizing the inclusion of unlawful lease provisions and limiting the reasons for eviction, refusal to continue, and termination. The bill passed the House 54-44 on March 7th, passing the Senate 28-21 on April 8th. The bill's amendments will now be negotiated by the House and Senate, and if they can come to a compromise, the legislation will go before the governor's office for an opportunity to be signed into law.
We have about 1.1 million renters in the state of Washington. The vast majority of them are people of color and low-income families. In fact, 68% are families with children under the age of 18. They were also the hardest hit by this recession because they were the ones who worked in the jobs that were shut down, the hospitality industry in particular. So 90% of the renters paid the rent on time during this entire moratorium period, and still are. It's roughly 10% that are behind. The average before the pandemic, 5% on average were behind. I've heard from landlords who told me they haven't had any tenants behind in rent. I have heard from some landlords who have had some challenges with their tenants. But the vast majority who are behind in rent have maxed out their retirement.
Here's who I worry about. I worry about Bill and Joe and Mary and Susan, who all reached out to me last fall, just about the time that they got their fall property tax notice. You see, Mr. President, these landlords, these wonderful, lovely landlords, have their rental properties, just a handful. I think the most anyone had was 6, as their retirement plan. They didn't invest in the stock market. They bought real estate. They bought rentals so that in their golden years, they would be able to collect the rents, and the culmination of which, added to their Social Security, was their retirement plan. And they are afraid because they're not getting the money in. They're not paying their property taxes. They can't afford any repairs. They're struggling. Many of them who pay the utilities are struggling to meet that need. And they said, what are you going to do for us? How can you make this work? We can't continue to go on forever.
Thank you for watching the Daily Legislative Report by My Edmonds News, covering the 2021 legislative session.